Hey everybody, Miss Teacher here. We're taking a look at lesson 10.9, which is on figures of coordinate plane, and we're using Braylon's Jamboard to show you a couple things on how to do this. So the directions here, I'm going to get my pen ready. The directions say, and by the way, you can change the thickness of your pen too. They have marker, pen. Probably the pen's going to be best, and using a color other than black is probably going to be best. So it says graph the figure and then find the length of side BC. So I'm going to show you, I'm probably going to show you on my software, which is called Smart Notebook. But then I think what's really important is, do you know how to draw a line on a Jamboard? Because they don't have a tool here. So I'm going to show you a little trick that you can use. All right, but if we plot this, if we go over 1 and then we go up 4, it's really important that as you put your dot, that you write the letter A next to it. So that's this point that we just did. Point B is over 1, down 2. And then put a B and do your best to write neatly. So this one's done. Point C is left 3, down 2. Put a dot. And then put a C next to it. Right, so that one's done. And then point D is left 3, up 3. All right, now you could freehand it, but it's best to try to find a picture of a line and resize it, and that way you can manipulate it and have it be perfect. All right, so let's show you how to do that. If you do add image and pick a line, so I'm just going to pick this one right here, the dotted line, and if I insert that, it should be clear, and it is. So you can resize this thing, and you can, make copies of it. If I make a copy, if I duplicate this, see, I have a bunch of them. Let me just duplicate it a couple of times. All right, so see, I have it. I'm going to need it 4 times, actually. Now, when you're ready to resize it, you can just do this to resize it, do you see? So let's move that down here. Resize it. So that seems about right. See how I just drew the line there? And then if I take this line and I resize it, and I can rotate it, here's the rotate tool, and resize it by pulling on that little line thingy, or I mean that corner, and then put it in place. All right, so that's how you're going to finish drawing your lines. And I just want to show you on my end, because I have the same thing here. I have the same thing. If we went over 1, up 4, and then over 1, down 2, left 3, down 2, and left 3, up 3. Now, I have the nice little tool where I can actually draw a line. It's too bad that Jamboard doesn't have that. And let me see if I can make this maybe blue or a different color so it stands out. So we're interested in the length of this line that I just drew. But I'm going to go ahead and finish connecting my points. All right, and you can see that we have a trapezoid. All right, but we're interested, and I probably should put this point. We never put the letter D there. That's important. All right, so we want the length of line BC. That's this line right here. And if we count the units, see that yellow dash that I made, even though I made it look just a touch too long, that's 1 unit. So 1, 2, 3, 4 units is the length of that. So we're going to put a 4 right here for the number of units. All right, now if we go back to the copy of this Jamboard, just want to make sure that you understand about how to manipulate the lines and resize it again. So I can just kind of drag that and just put it in place until it's the right size. So that's still a bit too long. All right, and then this one I'm going to have to angle it a little bit and make it smaller. So if we make it smaller and then just rotate it just a bit, let's see if that's about the right angle. See, it's not quite the right angle. And then I need to make it smaller and rotate it just a little bit more. All right, so that looks about right. All right, so see how the lines are there? It's not perfect, but it kind of gives you the right idea. And I also needed to add the letter D. Let's put that in for that final point. All right, so let's take a look at number 3, but we're going to look at it on my better image one. This is bigger and it's easier for you to see. And let's go ahead and plot. So if we plot left 1, up 4, and don't forget, really important, as you put the dot, you want to put the letter next to it for reference. B is over 5, up 4. C is over 5, up 1. And D is left 1, up 1. And now if we connect our points, I'm going to use my fancy line tool, but you're going to have to be a little more creative using what I showed you. Let's make it in blue again. If we connect all of our points, and now we have to get the length of one of the, BC is the line that we're looking for the length of, so that's this line right here. And if we count, this is 1 unit that I just traced in yellow. So 1, 2, 3 units is the length of that line. All right, we're going to skip over to slide number 4. Slide number 4 is the next one you're going to want to fill in. It says 3 vertices of parallelogram P, Q, R, S, R, and they give you the points. Give the coordinates of vertex S and graph the parallelogram. So if it says you have to graph it, that's not like you can just, guess what the coordinates are. You have to graph it. That's part of the task. All right, so let's go ahead and get to it. P is over 4, up 2. Q, over 3, down 3. Don't forget to put the letter next to it. R, left 3, down 3. All right, now what you want to pay attention to is you want to pay attention to the distance between these 2 dots. Now I'm going to work from the right towards the left, and it'll make more sense why. And I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units. That means we want to do the same thing with P, because remember, if it's a parallelogram, opposite sides are congruent and parallel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we stop when we get there, and we make a dot. So I'm going to put it in a different color for a reason. It'll make more sense. So that's got to be S, point S. Now, before we declare that as being done and hey, I'm done with it, you want to make sure you connect your other points to make sure that those lines are equal, parallel, right? So let me move this line to show you that these 2 lines are the same length. See, they're both a 6. And these 2 lines are the same length, and they're parallel to each other. So we were successful. So now we have to give the coordinates of point S. And if we look at the ordered pair for this point right here, excuse me, to get to that point, we would have to go left 2 and up 2. So the ordered pair for that is left 2, up 2. All right, so that's done. All right, let's skip over to slide number 9, because this one's a pentagon, so it's a little more complex. Pentagon means it's going to have 5 sides. All right, let's get to it. So we got a lot of plotting to do. Over 9, up 7 would be here. And don't forget, you always don't just put the dot, you got to put the letter next to it. So we just did this one. Let's move on to this one. Q, over 9, up 3. R, over 3, up 3. S, over 3, up 7. And T, over 6, up 9. And now let's connect the dots, because they do want the shape to actually be formed by connecting the dots. So like that, like this. So it's a little bit off, like this, and like this. All right, so now they want to know the length of PQ. So let's find PQ. That's this right here, P to Q. 1, 2, 3, 4. So on the little line down here, you're going to put 4 units is the length of that line. All right, let's skip over to slide number Let's see which one. Let's do number 17. So this is slide number 17 on your Jamboard. It says, a carpenter is making a shelf in the shape of a parallelogram. She begins by drawing parallelogram RSTU on a coordinate plane with the vertices. And notice they have letters and the ordered pairs, so we want to pay attention to that. Let's go ahead and plot. R is over 1 up nothing. S is left 3 up nothing. And T is left 2 up 3. Now this one's very similar to one we were looking at earlier, where we need to pay attention to the length. And I'll use, how about blue ink? Blue. We need to pay attention to the length. And I'm going to work backwards again. Actually, let's work from left to right because we're going from this side to this side. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4 units. So that means we have to count out 4 units for this if it's a parallelogram. 1, 2, 3, 4 units, and then you stop at 4. Otherwise, your line's not going to be the same length. Put a dot. I'm going to make the dot green so it stands out. That's got to be U, point U. All right, now before we declare a victory on this, we have to make sure that our lines on the opposite sides are parallel and congruent, and they appear to be. All right, so take a look at that green dot. What's the ordered pair? Because they want to know the coordinates of that. And if we look, this dot is over 2 and up 3. Over 2, up 3. All right, so make sure you pay attention in Google Classroom to see if there are any more instructions for other slides that you would need to do. You're welcome to do others with Mrs. Bardero or somebody else to help you with it. Number 4 is one that would be a good one to do because they're talking about a square. So that's a good one to try. After you're done with the ones that we just did, make sure you hit mark as done in Google Classroom. So the slides that you need to have done, I would like this one done, and all the other ones that we did in this video.